Okay, well, welcome everybody. My name is Craig Blanchett, and I'm one of the hosts for this Healthy Holidays Fun Shop. I want to introduce my cohort there, David Bush. David, would you like to say hello to the gang?
Peace and love and happy holidays to all.
Yep, look at the hair. Okay, so if you're noticing some of us are having a little crazy hair, it looks as though that just David and I are playing tonight, but I'm hoping some festive other people will join us. You do get extra points tonight. Tell them about what those extra points are worth, Mr. Bush.
Well, those extra points are worth absolutely nothing, Craig.
Yeah. That's right. Yep, exactly it. But it does make for a fun time and the ability to have a little extra fun getting healthy. So if you have some crazy hair around your house and you want to go grab it, I had to get any hair, which would have been crazy hair for me. So anyhow, well, tonight we're going to introduce the workshop, and we've coined the phrase fun shop because we want to have fun while we're learning to get healthy. And we're changing up the format just a little bit tonight. Instead of having a preview of what the next two chapters are, we're actually going to spend the entire night reviewing the information that we've all just read. And so we have 15 or so more minutes of time where we're actually going to be sharing that. So next week, tonight we're doing chapters 5 and 6. And so the homework for next week is going to be chapters 7 and 8. 2 chapters a week. The other thing that I wanted to let you guys know is we have a special guest on tonight. Her name is Stephanie, and I like to call her Mom. And she has actually made up some recipes for us. And if you guys looked at your emails, I attached the healthy recipe in the email to you. But we're going to be talking about an actual how to prepare a healthy holiday meal. And so she's joined us tonight in case you guys have additional questions or you kind of want to get crazy, because David Bush and myself, well, we can do a lot, but we needed a professional to come on to be able to handle some of those questions. So hang around for the after show, which will be in about 25 minutes, and we're gonna go into the practicals of the healthy holidays and actually making a meal that will be very, very good. I don't want to lose that, but it'll also be very healthy for you. And so as we get started with our game show tonight, as I bring up the screen, if you want to get people a little oriented with the controls and how to log in and vote or hit their buzzers tonight, go ahead, David.
Yeah, so what we're going to be reviewing today is the chapters 5 and 6 from Dr. Anderson's 3 Steps to Optimal Health ebook. And if you are brand new, this is your first recording or this is first webisode that you've watched, this is a free download. You can download this particular ebook at tsfldownload.com, and I'll put that in the chat window right now so everybody can get access to it. Make sure that you get this downloaded. This is a really good book, ebook to go through to help you on your journey to stay healthy over the holidays. And if you have some downtime during the holidays, it'd be a good book to review. We're going to do a little quiz show on chapter 5 and 6. There's going to be multiple choice questions, and we're going to kind of test the fast fingers that you have. And some of you are using different types of devices. So if you're using a PC or Mac, you should be able to just scroll down to the bottom of the screen and click on the chat window, and that'll bring you up the ability to be able to type your answers in. And the way that we answer the questions is we just put in the number of the question. There's a 1 or 2 or 3 in front of it, and then we put in your answer, A, B, or C. And then the first person to answer will get a chance to be unmuted and say their answer. And if you get the correct answer, well, tell them what they won, Craig.
Yeah, you won the same thing you get for the hair contest. So it's basically the respect and awe of everyone that's joined us tonight.
Well, tell them about the purpose behind the points, Craig.
Yeah, exactly. Really, the purpose behind the points is you can have, when you've gone to school and the teacher gave you a quiz, It was pretty much, did you learn the information? And we thought, well, we could do that, right? But why do that? Why not do something crazy and fun and make it into a game show? And actually, the purpose behind the points is ultimately that the information that we're reading actually you integrate into your life, and it actually changes your life for the better. And so these are really simple, practical things that if you incorporate, they can actually really make a difference in your life. And just so you know, at the bottom of the screen is usually where the chat window is. But since I'm in the screen sharing mode, you actually would scroll to the top of the page, and there's a little drop down that comes down, and you go over to where it says more, and you'll find the chat window there. And I actually have an iPad here so when you're on the iPad, I don't know how well you can see me or not, but am I showing up in your little window there? No? Yes.
If you you scroll through the different windows, you can see where Craig is at if he's not showing up on your screen.
Yeah, what you can do actually, if there is a bunch of windows at the top there, you can click on the little square with the arrow in it, and that will switch to active speaker. And then you can also make the active speaker larger by clicking on the center button there. And then the person that's talking will be large and up in the corner. And so basically when you're on an iPad, if you click on it and you go up to participant, and then you can click on chat all, and then click in the little window there, and it'll bring up your the keypad, and then you can hit 1, and then you're getting ready for the answer A, B, or C. And so that's how you can do it on an iPad. The iPhone's a little bit pretty similar, but a little bit different. So
ultimately what we want you to do is we want you to participate.
Yeah.
Because if you participate, then there's a good chance that you are guessing at the answers and taking a shot at it. And if you don't know the right answers, the goal is not to get the right answer, it's to learn the right answer.
Exactly.
So let's make sure that everybody has a lot of fun doing this. And if you're the first fast fingers and you're on a PC or a Mac, we'll probably have PCs will probably beat the Macs, right, Craig?
Probably not.
I'm changing the world with a PC. I don't know what you're doing with your Mac, but go ahead, Craig.
Yep, exactly it. So one of the things we're going to think about too is after each question, and we're going to go through the different questions, and then we're going to have Gina and Mark that were on from last week, and they're going to give a little rundown, a little review as well of the previous week and some things that stood out to them, and then we're going to go into discussion. So even if you don't win in the questions things because you're driving and it's difficult to chat in, you can still participate in the discussion, and we've actually allocated a little more time to spend on the discussion by not doing a preview of the next week's lesson. So without further ado, we're going to get right into it. And so David Bush, do you have your chat window up and you are ready to go?
I'm ready to go, boss.
Okay, I thought you would. I thought you looked like you are, that's for sure. So it's all right. So we've got some Who Wants to Be Healthier? This is the game show with all the fun and prizes you come to expect when you come to time. And the first question up for tonight, this comes from chapter 5. And first question is, what does Dr. A mean? I know I spent a little extra money tonight on the sound effects. Thanks for noticing, Mr. Bush. What does Dr. A mean when he says we live our lives in a candy shop? Is it our last name is Nestle? Food is easy to come by and packed with energy? Or is it C, you should eat candy when going to a movie?
Nice. Lots of answers coming in here. Make sure you get your answers submitted in there. It looks like Carrie Greenwald was the first one to answer, so let's go ahead and unmute Carrie.
All right, Carrie. You're going to have to unmute yourself, Carrie, and then go ahead and give us your answer.
That food is easy to come by and packed with energy.
Yes. Yeah. Would you care to elaborate at all on that, Miss Greenwald?
Well, because before we had to forage, and you didn't get all that. So now it's just everywhere, and I think about it too, like every commercial, and it's everything tries to play with all your senses, and just once you realize it, you pay attention more to them.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's trying to tempt us to get to come out there and eat those tasty candies and all that kind of stuff. It's also the other nice thing, interesting thing about it is it doesn't take much energy to walk to your kitchen and get food, and then the foods that we actually get have so many more calories in it because our taste buds have been desensitized over time, and so they have to add more and more stuff. Because ultimately, I don't know about you, Carrie or David, but do the candy places or the food places make money by selling you food? I know that sounds crazy, but so if you think about it, the more food they sell you, the more money they make, right? And that's fine to make money because they have to buy their own food themselves, right? And they got to buy cars and they got to put their kids in school and all that. So it makes perfect sense. We just have to be educated on really what it is that we want to do with our lives and be careful of some of those hidden calories. So by the way, Carrie, thanks for dressing up and playing along.
You're welcome. Yep. This is just the closest one I found.
Yeah, there's so many wigs, not enough time, right? Got it. And I see Steve Young. He's got a nice little crazy hair going. And Jeremy. Now, Kim, that looks like your normal hairstyle. Just saying, but thanks for playing along, Jeremy. Excellent. And Karen Collins, there's some nice hair. Good. Love it. All right, guys.
I think Bill took it to another level with the crazy hair, though, Craig. I think that he's going to get the most points for today. Okay. I mean, it looks like Dan's got a crazy hat on. Nicely done. Linda Benson, good job with your crazy hair. Yeah. All right. Okay. Let me get back to this question number 2 here. Okay. Question number 2. What does it mean to be non-sick? You guys ready with your fingers and your chat messages? Here we go. You've not been sick for a while. You don't know any sick skating tricks or no current health issues, but chances are you'll have them in the future. Wow, that's kind of a tricky question. You kind of threw in a little bit of a curveball to me there. So I'm gonna have let's see, Kim and Jeremy, I think, were first up. Let me see. Scroll back in. Yeah, Kim and Jeremy are up. Kim and Jeremy, can you unmute yourself and say your answer? Hopefully you're right, because this is a trick question, it looks like.
We said C.
C.
No health issues.
That's correct. Exactly. So do you have any additional comments you'd like to make as far as reading that part and going through the health assessment and understanding that kind of that you'd like to add?
Well, I guess I appreciate that this is a category in the assessment because I think that I found myself there when I started on the 5-in-1 program. And it's really easy to kind of, I don't know if trick ourselves is the right terminology, but to feel like I'm doing great, I'm doing okay because I don't have any major medical problems now, when the reality is we're headed there if we don't make a turn. So,
yeah, that's exactly right. Thanks for sharing with us. That's it. The doctors, if you think about it, when you go to see a doctor, you go see a doctor when you're sick, and he takes you to a state of non-sickness. The doctor's job is not to create health in your life. And that's the delineation that Dr. A makes, is the difference between non-sick and actually healthy. And so I think that's excellent. So thanks for sharing with us tonight. Let's see here. Where did my PowerPoint go? There it is.
You know, I like the word complacency to use for that non-sick category, because the definition of complacency is the act of becoming self-satisfied, unaware of possible dangers. And I think that's what really non-sick means to me.
Excellent. That's complacent with their health. I think that's a very accurate statement. One of the things that they found recently, just a little anecdote here, because we have a little bit of time, is they just did a survey and realized that in the past they've done BMI charts and calculated what the obesity rates were for America, and I don't know if it was just America or it was the entire world, but what they found is they actually made a miscalculation on the height of people that were doing the BMI charts, and they found that it was actually a lot worse than originally thought. And so as people weren't as, they fudged a little bit on their height, they were actually shorter than what they said, that their BMI was higher. And so instead of being, 30, I think it's 35 or 38%, we're more like 42, 43%. So it was quite a bit worse off than normal, or than we thought. So excellent. All right. So now question number 3. You guys ready with your chat windows open and your fast fingers ready? Okay. In Stop Challenge Choose, we're working to make a life where we are making conscious decisions, but it takes 2 to make a thing go right.
I like that song.
Practice, or is it unconscious decisions?
Wow, I think you stumped the commissioner here. Not seeing a lot of answers flying in right away. Okay, Claudia. Claudia's first one on the dial here. So Claudia and Richard, you there? Can you unmute yourself? Are you getting that unmuted?
Yeah, I got them. Oh, there they go.
There they go.
All right. So it takes practice. It takes practice.
It takes practice. I thought it takes 2 to make a thing go right. I thought that was a pretty good question.
That's a cool one. That's cool.
Yes, but you are correct.
It takes 2 to make things out of sight, but not everything goes right with 2.
That's right. So that's correct. It is practice. Exactly. So I believe Claudia gets the extra 2,000 points that we're offering for that question. Good job.
Okay.
All right. Nice job, Claudia.
We're going to move on to chapter 6 in the book. And so question number 6, unless you have something you want to elaborate on that last question there, Mr. Bush.
No, I think that just the simplicity of the fact that it does take practice, and it's not going to be, perfection. It's every day we're gaining more strength, and it's like a discipline or a muscle that we're training. And if we're not practicing, we're not exercising that muscle to learn how to make that healthier choice in the future. Yep,
exactly. Hey guys, when David Bush is talking, does it switch to his picture, or does it stay on mine? Probably can't see.
In the screen share mode, it doesn't change it for me.
Okay.
No, all we have to do is we just have to look at you all the time. That's all we get.
Oh, bummer. Well, I did wear my pretty hair tonight. So, all right, we'll get through this, and then we'll get on to more of the sharing. The preferred ratio of fruits and vegetables on a 9-inch dinner plate is 1/8, 1/4, or 1/2.
Wow. What time did the train leave again? Dan Steets. Oh, fast on the dial.
It looked like it was Dan Steets, but I don't know. You see.
Yeah, I'm calling Dan on that. Dan, go ahead and unmute yourself.
I believe the answer is C, 1/2.
1/2. That is correct, Dan. Nicely done tonight. Well done. And I wanted to, for us all to get a nice shot of Dan here, as he does have a nice hat on. If you can talk there, Dan, so we can see your face.
Yeah, I could thank my wife, PJ, for helping me out with my due tonight. So
yeah, the crazy hair. I like it. Well, thanks for being festive out there. Good stuff. Excellent. All right. So next question, we got 2 questions less, and these questions are really what's going to make a difference in who's going to win this, I think. So the preferred ratio of fruits. Oh, I already did that one. Okay, so the next one is a variety of triggers that cause us to eat. These triggers include food as stress relievers, food as reward, or is it both A and B?
Nice. Carrie Greenwald with the bonus opportunity to go double Jeopardy on this CRAVE Optimal Health series. Let's hear it from her.
Carrie, you probably have to unmute.
So,
yeah, there you go. We hear you.
There you go.
okay. So yeah, both A and B, or 2 of them.
Yep. Okay. So C is correct. Exactly. A and B. All right. Nice job, Carrie, with the funny hair like that. Okay. So last question, and this is for Triple Jeopardy. I know you didn't think there was such a thing, but we just made that up. Stop challenge foods approach can help us to counter our emotional eating responses. A positive approach includes eating a candy bar, a focused breathing exercise, or is it drinking a glass of wine?
Linda Benson on the ticker. You're up, Linda.
I got it? Yeah!
You did.
Everybody's so fast. It's crazy. Okay. Breathing exercise, B. I wanted to say C because that's my old habit, but I knew that B was the correct answer.
That is correct, and that is going to do it for the game show. Well done, Linda.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, guys. Well, that's exactly it. So that's the end of our game show tonight. So we thank you all for playing. So what would be great now is if you want to have your ebooks out and available, we can discuss some of these chapters. We've got Gina and Mark on the line that are going to give us a couple of additional highlights now that we've gone through that, and which I think that Gina did chapter 5 and Mark did chapter 6. So Gina, do you have a few things that you'd like to share with us, additional insights that you had from the chapter that stood out to you, or stuff you want to reinforce with us?
Okay, I'm trying to pull my book up. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I think a lot of it, I think, is just the use of the use of stop, challenge, and choose, and kind of looking at that environment. I mean, what I had talked about so much for me was obviously my past, and it was like a candy shop. I mean, it honestly was that way for me. But it was kind of like learning, we're learning new habits every day, but it's also like, I'm kind of relearning them, even that we know them. Mm-hmm. It's actually relearning how to use these things in that moment. Yeah. So, because everything's at our fingertips and it's all these things that are unhealthy, which is, you kind of just went over it in the game show. Mm-hmm. It's just, using that breathing that I'm learning, stopping in that moment and actually truly making it be about a challenge, mm-hmm. Before we make that choice. So that's really the strongest thing that I'm getting out of it for me.
And I have a question for you and for the other folks too. On page number 49, they do have the health continuum, the health score. It starts at 15 or below is the sick status. 15 to 39 is very unhealthy, and then it goes up from there. Did you take that test when you kind of started or towards the beginning of your journey, and do you have like a differential of how it's changed over time?
For me?
Yeah.
I was in the lowest category. I would have to dig out my number. If I knew I needed it, I would have had it.
That's okay.
But, I actually switched. I know I moved one category up, let me, because what's the lowest one, Craig?
It's the sick category, yeah.
Okay, I think I was teeter-tottering between sick and non-sick, and I actually moved there. Thank you. I'm actually, it sounds bad to say I'm unhealthy, but when you started on that teeter-totter of being it like so close to that sick, I mean, you know, that's improvement. That's success for me, you know, because I'm still on my journey. So yes, the last time I took it was during the challenge, and I was on the higher end, but I was still in the unhealthy area.
Got it.
And a lot of that, I think, is because I still have a good amount of weight to go, and I'm still working on my, you know, the balance of the trilogy, you know, for myself and in my life.
Sure. So let's open that up to other folks that had an experience with taking the assessment, maybe for the first time this time. Anybody would like to unmute and have some comment about where you scored and if you have a differential? How about, come on, guys. I know somebody's taking that test.
Mark, you had the chance to take that test. Are you there?
Yeah. You know, health has been a journey for me. So 5 years ago, I was non-sick, and, you know, looking at the different tiers there, you know, I've shared this with Dave because Dave's my health coach. Within the past couple of months, it's the first time that cholesterol has not been an issue for me, and my cholesterol is finally in a healthy range. So that's been exciting for me, too, to see that it's a journey. I've done that naturally. So, you know, that's happening without medication, but just continuing to move forward, moving the dial forward to optimize health.
Yeah.
Can I talk real quick?
Craig. Oh, go ahead.
Go Linda and then Steve.
I love that number can be moved, because when my husband and I started, we were in the sick category and on our way to being sick. And it was really an eye-opener to realize that my daily choices, if I continue to do what I'm doing, I will end up with all of those, you know, sicknesses in the category that he talks about, but I can change it, and that my daily choices have purpose and value, and I can change that end result. Yeah. So it might be slower, but it was pretty empowering to realize my daily choices have meaning to them, and to move that number was pretty cool. Yeah. So
here's one thing to think about, guys. Have you ever heard the story where, well, my genetics, I have bad genes, and so I can't get healthy, or, you know, and I don't know if you know that, but the genetic factor, if we got 100%, part of it's genetics, part of it's lifestyle. And raise your hand, who thinks it's 50-50? Your genetics is half, your lifestyle is half. Well, who thinks that genetics plays a bigger role than lifestyle? Anybody? All right, so we got a bunch of smart cookies here. Yeah, genetics is at the most 30 smart cookies, no pun intended, right? Genetics is at the most 30%. So what's the remainder? If you take 30 points off of 100, you come up with 70. And last I checked, 70 is way bigger than 30, right? So the awesome piece of that is you can be dealt bad genetics, and you can overcome bad genetics with lifestyle. How's that for awesome? How's that for a holiday gift? That's to all of you. Just gave it. David actually gave that to me, and I'm just regifting it to all of you. So,
or that I'm big boned.
Yeah, big boned is another one. Yeah, I've always been kind of husky. Well, you want to change that? We could change it. Claudia, or Steve Young? You had something to say.
Oh, I just wanted to have perspective of when I first took that health assessment. I always say, you know, I felt like I was a pretty healthy guy. And then what it did for me was really show that my habits weren't that healthy. You know, I had one really good exercise habit, but the rest of my habits and all that were really put me in the, I think it was like in the 70s at the time. And then going through a 28-day challenge, and then sticking with the program for a couple more months, and retaking it sometime, I can't remember, about 6 months later, I was well over the hundreds, just on perspective of habits. Mm-hmm. So it was a pretty fun little transformation. But a lot of people, when we give them that assessment, they tell me that they don't like their answers. You know, I didn't like my response. I don't like being called sick.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I like it when they tell me that, because then I said, so do you want to change it? You know, because whether you like it or not, if it's true, you know, well, then what are we going to do? What are we going to do to change it? You know, because we have lots of things we can do to change that number. I started with, what did I start with? I think I started with like a 27. And here's the funny thing about that assessment. Everybody that I've had take it, hundreds of people, I've seen as low as a -90. That's the worst score I've ever seen. And I've seen as high as someone starting in the 90s or hundreds. Every time I have somebody take that assessment, one answer that I have from everybody is, yeah, I know. Yeah, it's not as good as I want it to be. You can be 90 or -90, and the answer was the same. No one has ever taken that I've had them take it and said I was happy with the result. And so, you know, I started, I think, in the 40s, and I moved mine up. I think 127 was where, last time I took it, was where it was at. And so anyway, so there you go. You can have that too if you want it, and you got to work at it though. Anybody else want to place a few comments, and then we're going to shut off the recording, and then we're going to go into the recipe, and we're going to spend a little bit of time into the next chapter. But Dan, did you have something you wanted to share with us?
Yeah, I'll share mine. I was in the 40s, so I was in the unhealthy category, and I have moved mine up to the right around 100 or maybe a little bit higher. Mm-hmm. But my response is similar to Mark. I had high cholesterol ever since I was like in my 20s. So last year when I went to the family med doctor, they redid my cholesterol and it was normal. So I thought I was like one of those that was handed the bad genetics. But here you can change it through your eating and lifestyle changes. So
yeah, so awesome. Yeah, it's funny, when I started with Dan, I think, how much weight did you lose, Dan?
I didn't have that much weight to lose. I think I lost maybe like 10 pounds.
Yeah, 10
but
pounds.
The main thing was the biking. Was the
Yeah. He increased his performance on his hand cycle, and then he lowered his cholesterol, but it was only 10 pounds. I mean, he wasn't a big guy. I mean, he was kind of buff, but he wasn't fat, that's for sure. And now, 10 pounds and really optimizing his health for performance and some serious performances. I won't brag any too much, but I think his best time in a marathon was sub 125. What was your time in a marathon?
121, just under 121. Yeah.
So an hour and 21 minutes on a hand cycle. I mean, that's fast cookies. So anyway, all right. Well, I'm going to pull off the recording. So for those of you that are watching this recording, I invite you to join us live next week, because we're about to talk about all the really exciting things. And so next week, hang out, and we'll see you here.